Combat tactics, or basic combat tactics, is what I want to talk for this video. I won't go into the deep history of it, but I'll still be explaining what they are, how to apply it. Beforehand, though, I would like to shout out to some people that I have been watching, some great content they have, YouTubers, that help me understand these tactics, essentially. Free Whiskey, Karma Cut, Controlled Paris Gaming, Usually Hapless, and Digital Battlefield Tours. All of them I really recommend checking out, giving them a watch, subscribe, and turn on their notifications. Anyway, apologies for the rant. Let's actually get started into the meat of the video, as you can say. Fire and maneuver. One of the most basic tactics that they teach in generally all the militaries, and that is applied to most of the United States doctrine for their infantry. Fire and maneuver is where an element is the fire element. It attempts to gain fire superiority and cover the maneuver element by suppressing or, destroying the enemy. The maneuver element is essentially going to go around and flank the enemy position and destroy it. Maneuver elements are not actually fixed to attack a certain flank, though it is more recommended, as of course if you don't want to cause a lot of casualties. But if the fire is more effective enough and that left and right side of the flanks are not going to be worth, pushing, let's say there's enemy AT guns or more infantry that you know of on a side, then a frontal push isn't a bad choice, to be honest. On top of that, fire can be used to create standoff capabilities and destroy the enemy from a distance. More modern-day applications would be, let's say, Operation Desert Storm, where the M1A1s were able to shoot Iraqi tanks from almost another half a mile away or a mile away. I can't exactly remember the numbers, but still, there was no need to close the distance with them and, either take damage or unnecessary casualties if you had the superior force and equipment. So that can also create more maneuver capabilities as well if you're shooting at a farther distance. As Usually Hapless states,
remember that it's all about firepower. It's much better to send a bullet instead of a pixel triplet. And it's better yet to send 1,000 bullets, or a missile, or automatic cannon fire, or tank rounds, or heavy artillery, or a 1,000-pound bomb. If we have a way to kill the enemy or destroy the building they're in without us ever getting anywhere near it, then excellent, off we go.
So this can be done with tanks, artillery, aircraft, etc. As long as you have one type of unit or one type of man using as a fire and one other person or one other tank, whatever, using as a maneuver and moving itself while the enemy is under fire, that is fire and maneuver at its basic core. Another basic tactic actually to look at is terrain itself. It's often overlooked, and it's just as valuable to the defender and the attacker in any firefighter engagement. This can be micro-terrain especially, whether that's like little valley, like not even little valleys, it's just literally with terrain that looks flat almost, but has little bumps or raises, which can provide cover for you or the enemy. It's great for tanks sitting in defilades, it's great for infantry if you don't want them to get shot at. One of the last, and I think also most important things that can actually tie in with fire and maneuver is map control, or just knowledge of key areas. These are commonly bridges, roads, forests, or towns. All of the above, and even some extra ones, are of key positions that can give you an extraordinary advantage over your opponent. Controlling a forest of an area near a road can make it very difficult for them to push down that, and you getting an ambush and wiping them out oftentimes decides that engagement or even that game. Anybody who normally shoots the first shot off an engagement wins that engagement. An example of all of these tactics that I'm going to be showing you today would be in a game called Men of War. There's plenty of others, some that I can name right off the bat. Wargame Red Dragon, Steel Division 2, the other Men of War series. You've got Shock Force Combat Mission, which is great, and just Shock Force, all the titles, Graviteam Tactics as well. Basically, any strategy game can tie into these tactics. It's really simple. So in this specific engagement, we're somewhere in Africa, 1942, around 1943 equipment. Really doesn't matter for this because it's not like a campaign or a historical setting. It's just a quick match that I put myself into. But looking into this map, it's a very desert. It's very open. There's not much that sticks out. There's a few roads. But looking, there's also hills and some rocks that we can definitely use as cover, to make sure our men don't get shot in the middle of the sand. Looking even closer, we can see that the ground is not at all even. It has some small ditches and more little rocks popping for that. That's very important. That is what we're going to call micro-turret. This will become really nice for our infantry later on, which we can use to toss grenades flank and destroy the enemy.